All right, ready to dive deep into the world of cooperatives.
Always ready.
Ever heard of a business model where the customers are also the owners?
Ah, you're talking about cooperatives. Yeah, they turn the traditional business model on its head, giving the power to the people who actually use the services, the members.
Exactly, like a perfect blend of community and business. But today, we're going beyond the what's of a cooperative. We're digging into the guiding principles that make this model so unique.
You mean the 7 cooperative principles? These are the core values, the heart of the cooperative movement.
Okay, so before we get into each principle, let's take a quick trip back in time. I'm sensing some 19th century vibes here. England, maybe?
You're spot on. Think Industrial Revolution, a time of massive change, but also, unfortunately, social unrest. Workers were facing some really tough conditions, so this group of weavers in Rochdale, England, decided they needed a change.
Enter the legendary Rochdale Pioneers, right?
That's them. They set up this small cooperative store on Toad Lane. They sold essential goods at fair prices. But it was more than just a shop. It was a statement.
It was like a beacon of hope, a model for a more just and equitable way of doing business.
Absolutely. Their success spread beyond Toad Lane. Inspired by their model, built on a clear set of principles, people all over started forming their own cooperatives, and that's how the global movement took off.
Those principles were eventually formalized by the International Cooperative Alliance, creating a roadmap for ethical and sustainable businesses worldwide.
Exactly. The ICA was formed back in 1895. It brought together cooperative organizations from all corners of the globe. They formally adopted a set of cooperative principles that, to this day, are still so relevant.
All right, so let's unpack these principles. Principle number 1, voluntary and open membership. Sound pretty straightforward, but I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye.
Right. On the surface, it's simple. Anyone can join, no matter their background. But there's a responsibility factor here. Joining a cooperative isn't just about getting the benefits. It's about actively participating, upholding the values.
So it's about more than being a customer. You're an active member of a community contributing to its success.
Exactly. And this focus on inclusion has been there from the start. Back in the 19th century, the Rochdale pioneers, they welcomed everyone. They fostered a sense of shared purpose.
That's powerful. How has this principle evolved over time?
Well, cooperatives today often go further with what's called positive action. This means taking those extra steps to ensure inclusivity and break down barriers.
Can you give us an example of what that looks like?
Sure. Imagine a cooperative making its physical space wheelchair accessible or offering language support for members who speak different languages. It's about going the extra mile to make sure everyone feels welcome and empowered.
Makes perfect sense. Leveling the playing field, making sure everyone has a voice.
Okay, on to principle number 2, democratic member control. This is where the people power aspect of cooperatives really shines.
One member, one vote. Classic democracy in action. But how does that work in practice, especially in a large cooperative with, say, thousands of members?
That's a great question. The principle remains the same, but larger cooperatives might adopt some representative structures to keep things running smoothly. Think of it like electing a board of directors to represent the interests of the entire membership.
So it's like a system of checks and balances within the cooperative itself, making sure those members' voices are heard and their interests are represented.
Precisely. And to maintain that transparency and accountability, a lot of cooperatives use tools like governance audits and health checks. These mechanisms make sure the cooperative is truly democratic, reflecting the will of its members.
Like a checkup on the cooperative's democratic processes, making sure things are running smoothly and everyone's voice is heard.
All right, moving on to principle number 3, member economic participation. Now we're diving into the financial heart of cooperatives, and it's a big difference from traditional businesses.
So it's not just about voting, right? It's about the members having a financial stake in the success of the cooperative. But how does that actually work?
Members contribute financially to the cooperative. This is usually done through shares or membership fees. This gives them a sense of ownership and aligns their interests with the cooperative's success.
It's like investing in your own community-owned business. You're directly invested in its growth and prosperity.
Exactly. But here's a crucial difference between cooperatives and traditional corporations. Returns on investment in a cooperative are limited.
It's not about those big profits for a select few shareholders. It's about striking that balance between financial sustainability and fair returns for all members.
Exactly. And this ensures the cooperative's focus stays on serving its members and achieving its social mission, not just chasing profits.
I can see how that would shift the whole dynamic within the business itself.
Absolutely. It creates a sense of shared purpose. Members start thinking about the long-term well-being of the cooperative.
So how are those returns on investment actually distributed to the members?
That's where we get to patronage refunds. These are payments made to members, but in proportion to their use of the cooperative services.
So the more you engage with a cooperative, the more you benefit financially. It's a direct link between participation and reward.
Right. It's a system that rewards loyalty and engagement.
Makes sense. It really reinforces the idea that a cooperative is truly a member-driven enterprise. But what about the long-term financial stability of the cooperative itself? How do they make sure they have the resources to, weather economic storms or invest in growth?
That's important. Cooperatives typically prioritize building reserves, setting aside a portion of their profits to ensure they're sustainable in the long run. These reserves act as a safety net, protecting the cooperative from unexpected challenges and allowing them to invest in new initiatives.
So it's about balancing those profits to members with making sure the cooperative stays healthy and resilient for the long haul.
Exactly. This focus on sustainability really aligns with those cooperative values. Community, shared ownership, long-term vision.
Okay, we've covered 3 principles. Let's move on to number 4. Autonomy and independence. I'm getting the sense this one's all about cooperatives forging their own path, staying true to their values.
Absolutely. This principle comes from the idea that cooperatives are self-governed, free from external influence.
So even if a cooperative partners with, say, a government or another organization, it keeps its decision-making power and stays true to its mission.
Exactly. And this autonomy is deeply rooted in the history of the cooperative movement. Remember those early cooperatives emerging during times of social upheaval?
Yeah, they were fighting for a fairer system.
They fiercely guarded their independence, determined to create a more democratic way of doing business.
True trailblazers, forging a new path.
And this principle is still critical today. Cooperatives are navigating complex relationships with governments, businesses, you name it.
It's about finding ways to collaborate and partner without compromising their core values and decision-making power.
Exactly. And thankfully, there are some international frameworks that recognize and support this principle, like the UN Resolution 56114 and ILO Recommendation 193.
These frameworks help to create an environment where cooperatives can flourish while staying independent and self-governed.
But autonomy isn't just about outside pressures, it's also about internal practices, ethical conduct, self-regulation.
So it's about holding themselves accountable to high standards of transparency and integrity, right? Walking the talk.
Exactly. It's about building trust with members and the wider community, which is essential for the long-term success of any cooperative.
All right, 4 down, 3 to go. Let's move on to principle number 5, education, training, and information. I have a feeling this one's all about empowering members and spreading the cooperative spirit.
You got it. This principle acknowledges the power of knowledge and its importance in building a thriving cooperative movement.
So it's not just about providing goods and services, it's about creating a learning environment within the cooperative itself.
Right. Cooperatives invest in educating their members, their elected representatives, their managers, everyone. It's about giving them the skills and knowledge they need to participate and contribute to the cooperative's success.
It's about empowering individuals to take ownership and shape the future of their cooperative.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just the cooperative's internal operations. It's also about educating the public about the cooperative model itself.
Right, because cooperatives often fly under the radar. We need to spread the word about this amazing model and its potential to create a more just world.
Absolutely. Public education campaigns are crucial. We need to raise awareness about the benefits of cooperatives and encourage people to support them.
It's about planting those seeds of cooperation far and wide, showing people that there's a different, more collaborative way of doing business.
Now, on to principle number 6. Cooperation among cooperatives. It's like taking the cooperative principle and squaring it.
Cooperatives joining forces, supporting each other to build a stronger movement.
You got it. Cooperatives don't thrive in isolation. They thrive when they collaborate and work together towards common goals.
Building that network of solidarity, sharing resources, amplifying their impact through collective action. I love that.
And this collaboration can take place at different levels. Take secondary cooperatives, for example, where you have multiple cooperatives coming together to form a larger entity.
So it's like cooperatives teaming up to create a super cooperative. What are some examples of this in action?
Imagine a group of agricultural cooperatives forming a secondary cooperative to market their products together or to buy supplies in bulk. This gives them more bargaining power and allows them to achieve economies of scale.
A cooperative power-up, pooling their resources and expertise to create something even bigger and better.
Exactly. And then you have tertiary cooperatives like national apex organizations. They advocate for policies that benefit the whole cooperative sector.
So it's cooperatives working together on multiple levels, from local to national, even international, to create a more supportive environment for the movement as a whole.
Right. And the best example of this principle in action is the International Cooperative Alliance. The ICA is the global voice of the cooperative movement, connecting cooperatives across borders, promoting international collaboration.
It acts like a network of cooperative enthusiasts, sharing knowledge, best practices, all working towards building a more cooperative and equitable world.
And finally, we get to principle number 7, concern for community. This one really highlights what makes cooperatives different from traditional businesses.
It's about recognizing that a business isn't just about profit, but about being a responsible member of the community and contributing to its well-being.
Exactly. Cooperatives are invested in the sustainable development of their communities. They understand that their success is tied to the health and vitality of their surroundings.
We're talking about supporting local businesses, environmental protection, fair wages, initiatives that benefit the community as a whole.
That's it. But this principle can be complex. Cooperatives need to carefully consider how to balance the needs of their members with the broader interests of the community.
So it's about finding those win-win solutions that benefit everyone involved.
Exactly. It takes open communication, careful thought, a real commitment to finding solutions that create shared value.
Wow, we covered a lot. 7 principles, each one with its own layers.
But taken together, they paint a picture of what makes cooperatives stand out and why they offer such a compelling alternative.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about cooperatives and credit unions, make sure to give us a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. Your support helps us bring you the best content. Thanks for watching.